Hello and welcome back to Diecast Dude. Today I thought I would be doing a branded based video, and the brand I thought of was Nissan and Datsun, because I have a whole bunch of GTRs, Z's, Fairladies, also the S chassis like Silvias, 240SXs and all. So I thought today I'd go down all the cars and stuff I have from each brands, each specific model, and we'll go over them one by one. So let's get started with probably one of the most famous of these castings, the GTR. Now, the GTR is of course known to be an all-wheel drive monster, but earlier models such as the R31 and R30 were rear-wheel drive. Cool little tip there. Now, let's start this off. We're going to start with oldest to newest. So obviously we have the R31. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't know that much about Nissan in particular, but what I am aware of is that there were specific versions of the R31 released, and from what I recall, there was a naturally aspirated one and one turbo powered, though of course this one has been modified from its original with a lower front bumper and different wheels compared to the production model. But as you can see right there, it is the RS Turbo. Now, I'm unaware if that is a real model. I know more about Toyota. I could tell you a lot about Toyota, being a big Toyota fanboy, but I chose Nissan because I had the most of them out of probably all the Japanese car companies. Next up, we have the R32. Now, Hot Wheels has been releasing some R32s lately, there being a 33 in one of the most recent cases right here, there being a white one and a couple past cases, and then there's going to be a black treasure hunt one for the 2020 A case, which looks a bit like that, but with some gold lines like the R31 right there on it. Now, this one has rubber wheels, special rims, and is from the Fast and Furious set, the Real Rider ones. I ended up gotten it because if you've seen Initial D, it looks like a car driven by, I think his name's pronounced Nakatsu, I can't remember his full name, but he was the leader driver for the Night Kids is what it was. He drove an S13, which he lost to a GTR R32 and decided to get one of his own, which honestly was a pretty cool plot idea. Of course, he ended up losing to the almighty 8.6, which was the hero car of that series, but it still looked really good. It was a full stock pitch black R32. Really neat car. Next up, we have I think this came out in 2015, 2017, somewhere in between there. I'm not entirely sure. I got this casting from a viewer who gave me a 5-pack, but sadly, there's been an issue with the wheels lately toward them and rubbing with the fenders, so it hasn't really got much track time. I haven't really been able to use this one. It's more of a show car. Then another one I got like that is this wide body R32. Now, these are both R32 wide bodies, of course, but this one is blue and this is the older one. Now, the difference between the two casting is that the R32, the older one, the blue one, has a plastic wing on it compared to the newer R32 wide body, which has a full metal wing. Guessing it had issues of the wings breaking off, like a few Hot Wheels cars. Actually had a Z, which you might have saw in the intro, which was purple. I'll show that later on in the video, which its wing was broken off because I've actually had that one for a long time. And not all these cars are in pristine condition. They're of course all unpacketed, and thought I'd mention some of them are Matchbox, like 2 or 3 of them out of all of these. So it's not all Hot Wheels, but I can still give you some info in the cars. Next up, the R33 line. Now, I remember when I first saw the 33 released this year in purple, I was actually kind of like, purple, kind of interesting. Then they came out with it in red, which gave me Wangan Midnight flashbacks, and Wangan Midnight, which is another Japanese racing cartoon. There was a team, I can't remember what their team was, I don't know that much about Wangan, but they had a red R33, which had 800 brake horsepower due to a twin turbo RB engine, which was pretty cool. It was driven by one of the side characters, and the Z, of course, went up against it, which I actually have a Z, which is similar to the one in that show, to show you guys. But these are just 3 really cool R33s. Now this one in particular is a special one from the Zamac series, which I probably should not have unpacked it thinking about it. But I ended up getting it because, I mean, it's an R33. It's pretty cool. Of course, out of all 3 of the cars, R33 was known to have the most issues, something like that. It being a lot heavier than the past models and it having more oversteer problems. But in my opinion, it looks pretty good. I don't know why people didn't like the looks of it. Something like that. Might be a bit off on the info of these cars, said once again, because I don't know that much about the R or the GTR chassis in particular, but I just had a lot of them and thought I'd show them off. Now these two are pretty special. So we have the R34 from the intro of Fast and Furious, or well, Too Fast, Too Furious, which they also released. Sayuki's S2000, I think her name is pronounced. I can't remember. Then they also had the Supra, and there was one more car in the mix, which was probably a muscle car or an Integra of some sort. I can't quite remember it entirely. But you had the GTR jumping the bridge up against the golden Supra, which was a pretty cool scene. And right here, oops, a little wreckage. This was a treasure hunt car for one of the cases this year. The GTR R34, which came in a Spectra Flame green paint, rubber wheels. It was pretty special. I can never find it. I looked really hard because that was a car I really wanted, but it's been a while since I've found a treasure hunt in stores because we don't really get that much. We don't get too many treasure hunts over here, and I don't know why. I've looked around, I've looked really hard, and I've looked thoroughly through many cases, but just can't seem to find them. And of course, it's similar to God Arms, or Godfoots from Initial D, 4th stage. He's one of the guys he goes up against. And then there also being Blue S2000, which I have yet to find a casting similar to. Now last but not least, in the GTR lineup, we have the R35, probably the monstrous Godzilla out of all of them. And, well, this car's been nicknamed Godzilla. That's another fact about it that I could say. It's known as Godzilla in Japan, being one of the fastest cars or something like that. I'm not too good when it comes to info, for the 3rd time saying, of course. But this car's paint was interesting. It had like a weird Spectra Flame or like a shiny metallic color, but the hood was discolored from the other parts of it. There's like a little discolored stain on the hood. It's kind of similar to that one right there, or this Zamac car. It's like they painted the color of Zamac for this. Really interesting, if I'm going to be honest. Though, of course, all these castings capture the characteristics of these cars really well. Though, one of them I could say that could be redone color-wise is the 34. I'd like to see the headlights colored on this car. The taillights are. But Hot Wheels rarely pays attention to the headlights of these cars. I don't know why. I think the 35 was one of the only ones with colored headlights. Of course, even back then, they still didn't color the headlights of this car. And there's a bit of heritage to this car with a rich racing history of it too. But I don't know enough of that to get into it, so I probably want another video. I'll probably bring this back up when I get some more GTRs and stuff and show you a bit more about that car. Of course, going newest to oldest, next up comes the Z chassis, which has a lot to it. The Fairlady, the Z, and of course, we have this model, which was released this year. That was pretty cool. And then I also have a Matchbox model similar to one that was also released this year, which is the 350Z. This is the 370. But going into it, to start off, we're going to start with the oldest models, of course, and then work our way to the newest. So let's move the newer models out of the way here, then get to the older ones. Also have one more, which is another Z, of course, similar to the one that they released this year, which a friend I used to go to school with gave it to me because I was so interested in the car, and he just passed it down to me, which is pretty cool. And it being a specific Matchbox, it has working suspension to it, which is pretty cool. You can just go up and then just watch the body roll go through as the car goes around the corner. It was just really cool. I like the suspension feature on this car, and I wish more diecast brands still did it. Older Hot Wheels cars, of course, have it, but don't anymore. Starting off, we have the Fairlady 2000 right here. The two wide body cars. Of course, these are all wide bodied except for this one all the way in the back, which just has a body kit to it. I'd like another example of that one because that one's been through a rough time and it's been heavily used and beat up quite a bit. Hot Wheels actually released a new one this year, so I'll be looking for that in the mystery packs. Back to the 2000s, these are also new castings for 2018 to 2019 is when they're released. They reissued it a couple different times with new color schemes every new time, though it looks like it went through a casting change, so it got a bit lower actually. As you can see, the wheel size is surprisingly different out of both of these. I don't know why. Might just be the color scheme of it, but the yellow one is lower than the black one. I don't know why. Let me show you here. Put both wheels side to side and it's lower. It's really interesting. I don't know why. Interesting casting change. Next up we have the white and the blue. Now, these cars are, I gotta say, my favorites. This is similar to one that was released in Gran Turismo Sport, showed in that game. Though, of course, the car wasn't actually originally shown in Gran Turismo Sport. It was made by a tuning company that I can't remember the name of. Though, this is similar to their body kit on it. It looks really cool. I really like the way this car looks. It's just interesting. The body kit really brings it out. Another example of this body kit is this one right here, which is similar to one shown in Wangan Midnight, which in that show, the hero car was a 432Z. I think it was a 432. I might be wrong there, but it was a wide body Z with a twin turbo fuel injector, like a very special engine. I think it was the same exact engine in the car, but like really heavily tuned up. It was either that or a really peculiar engine swap for the car, something really odd. Keep going with it. We have some more wide body Z's. I don't know that much about these wide body Z's, so correct me in the comments if my info is wrong on any of these cars, because I can assure you it's probably going to be wrong at least once. But I'd like to see this car released in red, similar to the one that a team called the Midnight Club had, who raced on the Wangan with their heavily tuned cars, which they also had a car that inspired the cars in Wangan Midnight, like the Devil Z and Blackbird, which were both heavily modified and expensive cars. And I think Blackbird is what the car's name was, had at least $1 million put into it, something like that. A lot of money. Last but not least in this lineup is this, the Hot Wheels Race Team Z. Now this is like an old 2008 casting. Really interesting. I really like this car and I recently gave it some WD-40 on the wheels so that it'd roll a lot better than it used to. But it's been through a lot and it isn't in the best condition. Paint's a bit messed up, needs some new wheels, a bit dented on the front. That aside, one of my favorite castings, and this is similar to the one that the Midnight Club raced because it has the headlight covers right there. It's a sleek design over the hood. On to the more modern Z's, we have the 1990s Z's, which these are both the twin turbo special Z's. I think it's the twin turbo Z32, something like that. But this car was also released in Forza Horizon 4 a couple months back, which I know that's a bit off topic compared to it, but you are going to see one of the Horizon casting this, of course, it being a Nissan video, and there being a Nissan in that case, so I ended up grabbing another one of those. There's also going to be another Fast and Furious car coming right up, so let's get on to it. I apologize for not showing you much info on these two cars, but I just don't know enough about this car to really get in depth with it and explain a lot about this car. So these are the most modern of Z's right here. Of course, there's the one without the wing, and then there's the black one with the flames on it, then the Fast and Furious one from Fast 5 where they're doing the drift training in the warehouse with the Z. It's pretty cool. That was one of my favorite scenes from that movie. Then there's also a Matchbox Z right here, which is similar to the one in Tokyo Drift, which is kind of funny that these two look like they're from Tokyo Drift. Of course, I'm pretty sure Hot Wheels did a release on that Tokyo Drift car. They probably did it with this casting in particular. It would have been really neat if they did, because I don't recall them actually doing it. It'd be just really, really cool to have that car. And of course, here's the purple one. I'm not sure if these belong to any specific race teams, any of these castings, so I apologize there. But what I do know is that A lot of these are older castings, and you're not going to see a lot of these on the shelves anymore because they came out last year or a long time ago, so keep that in mind. And some of them being Matchbox, you won't see those. But there also is some you can get, like this one, which was released this year, which I showed a couple videos back, reviewing the Need for Speed, the Forza Horizon, and my Walmart haul from the new series, showing off some new cars like that Hot Wheels Art Car Mustang. And of course I have another one of these, which is an older model right here. Both to show off. Pretty cool looking castings. Last but not least, we have the Datsun Bluebirds and the S chassis. Now these are the 240 SXs, similar to the one that a guy named Adam LZ used to drive. I don't know if he still drives it because it's been a while since I've seen his cream 240 SX. Then we have an Adventine one right here in all white, red stripes, black hood, fancy rims. These are drift inspired cars, of course. A lot of these Nissans here. Then ending it off, we have the two really old Nissan Datsun Bluebirds, which these are both race tuned ones with the lower front end splitter, and they actually look like they got suspension a bit, but I can assure you they don't. These came out in I think around some area of 2000 to 2010, somewhere in between there. Of course, they aren't as old as the 1990s because these rims look kind of modern, so it's hard to really say about these two. Might have come out of a special kit or something like that, like a special race inspired 5-pack. This has been my review on the Hot Wheels Nissan castings that I own. Go in the comments, post your favorites, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Of course you don't have to if you don't want to, but it'd be appreciated. But yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos because I have some new ones coming up. Maybe post some video ideas in the comments below. I got a giant track that I need to review, and I also said I would be reviewing some of my Hot Wheels tracks in the comments below, so I'll be sure to show you the bin of Hot Wheels stuff that I own and all the tracks that I got the review.